All right, ladies and gentlemen, most, mostly gentlemen, if we're all being honest with one another. Here we go again. I've got 8 short and sweet notes to share with you this evening. It's April 7th, 2025, where I'm at right now. I'm in Troy, Alabama, right down the street from Troy University. I'm working at a place in Jack, Alabama, which is a I don't even know if I should disclose this to anyone, but it's a chicken processing plant that is located on the same property as a sewage lagoon. So, a word to the wise. If you still eat this is such an interesting position to be in because I would recommend for people to primarily eat meat as their main source of nutrition. But the more exposure I have to the meat processing industry in America, the more disgusted and disappointed and appalled I am at the conditions in which our meat is processed. So I would say most of the food that you're going to eat that isn't meat isn't even food. So you shouldn't eat that. In addition to that, I would also say most of the meat that you eat isn't safe. I would still recommend for you to eat mostly meat, but I would also caution you to realize that if you don't source your own meat from a place where you can verify the chain of custody, the gamble that you're making isn't worth it. So, what does that mean? That means, well, you should be purchasing meat from local farmers who are ranchers who are raising cattle and butchering cattle and providing it to you with the least amount of middlemen possible. The same goes for poultry and fish. My current situation, like I initially said, it's a chicken processing factory on the same property as a sewage lagoon for the community in Jack, Alabama. So, what happens when you have a sewage lagoon? If you don't know what that is, good. If you really, really need to know what that is, you can Google it. All right. Uh, but what happens when you have a sewage lagoon less than 100 yards in linear distance away from a chicken processing factory? Well, there's a lot of things that happen. And one of the main things that's the most disgusting things that you could ever imagine in your life is cross contamination. And well, Scott, how would cross contamination happen if the sewage lagoon is over here and the chicken processing factory is over here? Well, that's a good question. You may have never considered things like insects, rodents, uh, birds, just to name a few, dogs, uh, rabbits, cats. I can continue. I won't. that's not really the point of the video today. The point of the video today is to cover 8 brief notes that I have regarding relationships, love, women, marriage, men, interpersonal dynamics between men and women, and how to negotiate the transactional nature of relationships between men and women. Number one, women love being cheated on. I am sorry to report. Now in my life, I don't cheat on women. I am I'm reconsidering my current position, but my current position is that I am interested in a monogamous relationship with one woman. That isn't that that's not because I don't find many women attractive. It's not that I wouldn't want to take on sexual relationships with a large number of women or any of that. That's not what's going on. The reality of the situation is that I have decided that relationships with women are so dangerous and so expensive that it is not uh, it's not wise to take on a relationship with a woman more than one at a time. So it's out of self-preservation more so than anything else. I have found through my own experience and my ability to observe others' experience that more often than not, relationships with women will drag you down, they will attempt to destroy you, and they will be, number one, dangerous, and number two, exceedingly heavy on the cost benefit analysis in terms of cost, and very light in the terms of benefit. I've had many women in this world decide to have my children. I fall into the category of men on the 40% side that have actually been able to reproduce because they've had women search them out and decide that they wanted to reproduce their genetics, instead of the 60% side throughout history uh, that have not been able to reproduce. So for guys that are above average, I would consider myself slightly above average when everything is encompassed and calculated into our sexual marketplace value calculation. Uh, that's where I'm at. That's where I have landed. So, anyway, women love to be cheated on. The point is, when I was young, I used to cheat on all my girlfriends, all of them, all the time. And I would have multiple girls fighting for my attention and my devotion constantly. I would cheat on a girl, shout out Jennifer Coppolino, who's like a doctor. And she would still fight with these low class hoes to try to maintain my relationship commitment and my attention and things like that. And that's just one. She's a great. I'm. I haven't spoken to her in years. She's probably a wonderful lady. I doubt that she's like a wife and a mother by now. She's probably a doctor who's like 42 and single. But that kind of goes without saying for a woman who's going to go to college and become a doctor. Anyway, now that I'm much later on in years, I'm 45 years old, and I don't actually cheat on women at all. And it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm finger wagging at people. You shouldn't have sex with more than one woman at a time. I don't give a fuck how many women you have sex with at a time. I don't care at all. I've decided that for me, in terms of my cost benefit analysis, it's more costly than beneficial to entertain women. And so my tendency is to only entertain one at a time. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to stay that way. And that definitely doesn't mean that's how I've behaved in the past. That's just the current state of affairs. So take that information and do with it whatever it is that you will. The note here, the point of all of this is that my relationships, since I've decided to take on one woman at a time, and the reason that I'm reconsidering that altogether is because I am now have enough experience in that state of entertaining women that I can observe a pattern that my relationships with women are absolutely fucking terrible. Okay? Compared to the state of my relationships with women back when I would cheat on them all the time and you could say treat them like shit. It's fucking amazing, man. It is fucking amazing how terrible your relationships can be when you entertain one woman at a time. It's actually fascinating the stark difference between having relationships with women when you just have one at a time and you're telling them that it's just one at a time versus when there's more than one at a time. It is completely opposite. It is absolutely opposite. When I had more than one at a time and I was, I mean, had no hesitation whatsoever to advertise that as the current state of affairs, my relationships with women were, I don't know how to put a number on it, like 100% better, 200% better, 1,000% better. I mean, we could kind of get into the weeds here with that, but um, very recently I spent 2 5-year periods being very uh, how would I describe that? Well, I was hyper focused on observing and analyzing relationships between men and women, and so I had isolated myself for long periods of time from being in relationships with women. And I had been sexually approached because it's interesting too because I had been sexually approached by my some of my best friends' girlfriends. God damn, these hoes are so dark, man. When they find out that you're not playing the game and fucking all kinds of chicks all over the place like you used to, they want to fuck you so bad they will cheat on your best friend with you. These bitches are so fucking dark, man. It's, well, it's disappointing, is what it is. That's really what it is. It's just disappointing. Anyway, I could go on for days about women wanting to be cheated on. It's they say they don't like being cheated on, but their behavior speaks the 100% opposite. They fucking love being cheated on. They love it. They want nothing more than to be with a man who has multiple women and can continue to have multiple women. They fucking love it. Point number 2. Here's something that women really uh, the vast majority of them do not understand, but then the very small majority of them do understand, and there's a very high percentage of those women who do understand this point that have become sex workers. And it isn't until after they become sex workers that they understand this point. And that is the point is you don't want to fuck your wife, the mother of your children, your wife, like you want to fuck your girlfriend. Those are completely compartmentalized situations. When you have a woman who is your wife, and they call this, you can refer to various studies or psychologists or whomever. The most popular right now is Orion Taraban, Psych Hacks on YouTube. Psych Hacks on YouTube. Super sharp guy. Love his work. Highly recommended. Well done, well thought out, well vetted. And he would agree with this, I'm positive. And that is, you do not want to fuck your wife like you fuck your girlfriend. Okay? And it's because you like her. It's because you respect her. Your wife, I'm talking about. It's because you love her that you don't want to do the shit to her that you want to do to all these bitches. So there's been, I don't know, an uncountable number of cultures throughout history that have documented this, where men have concubines, will have a mistress in addition to his wife. Why is that? Have you ever thought, why would that be? Why would a man have a wife who's beautiful, respectable, honorable, submissive, obedient, everything you want, and you're still gonna go fuck the shit out of some street hose? Okay. It's because you don't want to do this shit to your wife that you are gonna do to these hoes that belong to the streets. It's because you love your wife that you're not gonna do that to her. It's because you respect her that you're not gonna do that to her. It's because you like her. It's because she's the mother of your children. Now, women will pretend not to understand this. And those women, they don't want to be wives. They don't want to be mothers at all. What they want to be is men. They want you to be submissive to them. And I'll tell you right now, gentlemen, curb those hoes. If you're with a woman who wants you to fuck her the way you would fuck some 304s that belong to the streets, well, the concept of that existing in that woman is mutually exclusive from the concept of her becoming your wife and the mother of your children. The woman who you are to make your wife and the mother of your children, your sons and your daughters, is a respectable woman who doesn't want to get fucked like these hoes that belong to the streets. And she wants you to go take that out on someone else. She can respect the fact that you are considerably more dangerous than she is. She can respect the fact, she can look up to the fact that you have an animalistic part of your nature. that she doesn't have. And she can value that because when it comes time for you to perform acts of violence that require you to righteously remove the heads of your enemies, she wants no part in that. She doesn't want to hear about it. She doesn't want to see it. She doesn't want to know the details. All she wants to know is that you can remove the heads of your enemies all day and come home, wash up, remove the evidence, and kiss your children good night and put them to bed safely and watch over them with the hand that's ready to perform acts of unspeakable violence against intruders that would bring death upon your children in their sleep. Now, does she want to take part in the animalistic part of your nature? No, not at all. That is to be reserved and experienced by others. And if a small part of that is a sexual, violent release, you know what? Expend that elsewhere. Point number three. I could go all day on these. I could continue on point number two, but we won't. We'll keep it moving. Point number three. Most women will use sex as a weapon because it's their only source of power. Most women have no idea that submission is their real power. That aligning themselves with a man in a submissive way creates a team, creates a symbiosis. If they see what we have here in America is completely inverted satanic relationships. It's and I've watched this occur slowly in my own lifetime. It is completely insane, and it is completely inverted. And this inversion of this righteous, honorable relationship is Satanism. Argue with me as much as you may like. I would be happy to discuss this or debate this with any of you. But if you've got a woman who wants to be your equal, that doesn't mean she wants to be your equal. That means she wants you to submit to her. That's so fucking disgusting. That's so revolting. That's so inverted and dark and dirty. That's so satanic that you should dismiss those women from your existence immediately. And if you really can't find any women that aren't trying to play that game with you, then go somewhere else to find them. So, the ones that are trying to play this game with you of egalitarianism, equality, these masculine, disgusting women, these competitive, rambunctious, disagreeable women, they have no power. They're weak. They're foolish. They're unwise. They don't know how to discipline themselves so that they can sacrifice what may seem to be satisfactory in the short term for what is proven to be satisfactory in the long term. They can't do it. And that is evidenced by their desire to compete with you for a masculine position. That is evidenced by their desire to compete with you for power over you. A woman that wants power over a man is a woman who's trying to uh, displace God. You, as a man, should bow down to no one but God. And I don't care if you believe in God or evolution or a combination of the two, it all plays the same if you think it through to its logical conclusion. If you have a woman who is trying to compete with you for power over you, she is attempting to displace nature or God or whatever you want to call it. And it is in your best interest to dismiss this woman as quickly as possible. Point number 4. This one is rough. So, if you're like me, you grew up in North America in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, 2010s. You've seen all this happen. When I was growing up, people didn't have cell phones. I was growing up when car phones with a big box and a shoulder strap first came out. People first got pagers. That was like a really big thing. Pagers, man. Pagers. We were coming up with alphanumeric codes to try to send messages to each other on pagers before text messages even existed. You could go to a payphone and put 2 dimes in it to make a phone call. People still had to buy minutes of long distance. The world was a completely different place because as the telecommunications industry has grown and connected everyone so much, it's actually disconnected everyone to a level that's unmeasurable. And what I've observed in my years is particularly women. Well, let's talk about men first. What I've observed in my years is men withdrawing from this entire game that we play. More and more to a deeper degree and more in large numbers. So there are more men numerically that have withdrawn and disconnected themselves from society and social interactions, mainly because of their inability to have success with women. And there's more and more women that have disconnected themselves from their own nature and from their creator and from men in particular. So what women have decided to do is instead of connect themselves to a man, they have connected themselves to all men. They would love to go around and pretend that they don't need men to survive, but in actuality, the more they disregard their natural state of needing to rely on a man, they embrace the unnatural state of having to rely on all men for their existence. So this is where you find concepts like women being married to the government instead of married to a husband, and all the men having to pay taxes into the system so that women can receive tax benefits from the system. single mothers, women needing the government to provide them with welfare and health care and things of that nature, retirement and whatnot. A lot of that comes down to the fact that women can't physically do what's required to actually farm, and it kind of goes downhill from there. So we can get into the weeds on that as well, but the more observation you make, the more disgusting it becomes. And so if you pay very close attention to women, you will observe their attitude. And there's a very common saying in most businesses where attitude is every. They say attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. If you have a good attitude, if you have a can-do attitude, then it'll that will be your reality. And if you have I can't do it attitude, well, then that will also be your reality. And so there's, cliches that can be spun back and forth all day long about this kind of thing, but in reality, it does exist. And so we've turned most, if if not almost all women, we've allowed them to turn themselves into prostitutes. And this is why you can't allow women to lead themselves or lead groups of other women or lead anything that involves any number of men. Because if you leave women to their own devices, they will automatically organize themselves into harems and become prostitutes right away. Right away. Without any hesitation whatsoever. They will become harems and prostitutes instantaneously. And so, if you know what's good for the world and what's good for them and what's good for us, then you don't want women to just be harems and prostitutes. That doesn't really pan out very well for them or for you. And it doesn't really pan out very well for you to be able to have healthy children. So keep that in mind as well. That was point number 4. Number 5, start dressing better. Okay, so if you've watched any of my videos, you will know by now that sometimes I dress up, sometimes I dress down. There is, I would say, a stark, measurable, observable difference in the way that I'm treated when I go out into the community just to do things like run errands, go to the UPS store, go shopping at the grocery store, go pay bills, go deal with whoever it is, Best Buy, getting the laptop, Verizon, dealing with cell phone stuff, whoever, whatever it is. When I'm driving a clapped out shitbox and I dress like a construction worker or a mechanic, I get absolutely no respect anywhere I go. And that's, I'm 6'1". I'm like 200 pounds. I'm not like a small guy. I'm not like some big dude either, but I'm taller and bigger than most guys. I make more money than most guys, but you will have heard me say by now, I'm covered in facial scars. I have broken all the bones in my hands and feet. I got missing, busted out teeth, and that's partially because of my multiple decades long career as a criminal and a professional fighter. I did a handful of professional fights, okay? Nothing to write home about. Obviously, if I was super successful at that, I would have made a lot more money doing that, and I didn't. So I'm not here to like hang my hat on that type of shit. I'm saying I have dabbled my toes in the deep end of competitions that most people cannot fucking deal with, okay? The amount of pressure that comes along with that, the amount of physical training and discipline that results in mostly just pain, whether you Trust me, even when you beat the shit out of the other guy and you win, the chances you're going to the hospital are considerable. Okay, it's not like you just get off scot free because you beat somebody up. Like, well, what happens when you break your wrist and you got to get elbow surgery and you beat this fool's ass? Shit happens, right? Well, guess who's paying for the broken wrist and the elbow surgery? Guess who's paying for the cosmetic surgery to your face? Guess who's paying for the teeth replacement? Guess who still can't breathe because they got a broken fucking nose 12 years later on down the road? Okay, so just whatever. Get a real fucking job. Anyway, start dressing better. So I got this fucked up look on my face all the time, partially because that's just how I look, partially because of the facial scars, partially because of the scar tissue over my eye sockets and under my eye sockets and around my mouth cavity, partially because of my busted ass nose and my ears that are all fucked up and don't match. Okay, so part of it's just physical, but part of it's mental and emotional and spiritual as well. Part of it is there's a little bit of chip on the shoulder. Part of it is there's a little bit of darkness that I'm trying to shake. Okay, I don't recommend it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to spread that on other people. I wish nothing but good things for people. And what I find is that if I dress nicely and I drive a nice new car, a nice new truck, whatever it is, then people don't see me as such a threat when I'm just walking down the sidewalk and they're walking down the sidewalk. They don't feel like they have to cross the fucking street to get out of my way because I'm some dangerous threat to them and their family or some shit like that. And you know what? I like it like that. I don't like it when people see me come in and feel like they have to fucking walk across the street. I used to, okay, so I had this big black pit bull for a long time. His name was Debo. Great dog. One of the best ambassadors of pit bulls to humans you could ever have imagined. People that were scared of pit bulls would meet my dog Debo and decide that pit bulls weren't really a bad dog breed. They would fall in love with this dog and want to just like cuddle him all the time and everything because he was just chill like that. Great dog. But for a long time in San Diego, I would walk this dog around on a heavy gauge, big ass chain that was chained around his neck with a like carabiner, quick release carabiner clip put in it. So it was like no dog collar, just chain clipped to like a long ass length of chain that I could walk him around with as a leash instead of a leash. And you would not be able to imagine the amount of people that would just cross the street when they saw me coming with that dog. And I liked it like that because it gave me an opportunity to blame it on the dog instead of just me. I was spreading the misery, you know? We did years and years in the street like that. All over Kearney Mesa, Mira Mesa, Claremont, Point Loma. And now looking back on it, like I feel sideways about that. I shouldn't have done that. But it's just one of those things where it's a learning experience. And now, so I would like to go out of my way to dress in such a way that I don't come off as a threat to other people. And I hope to improve in the future. That's number five. Number six, women take on personality traits from all the men they're in a relationship with. Women also carry the DNA from all the men that they raw dog and get fucked by. So when you raw dog a bitch and bust in her, she's going to carry your DNA around. She absorbs that. Part of you is now in her. It absorbs into her central nervous system, into her brain, right? So there's a whole bunch of really valid points to be made about this, but one of the main ones is this is why you don't want to fuck chicks that have a high body count, because they're stealing from you. They're going to take part of you and carry it with them. And they haven't earned that. So stop fucking these fucking whores. Good luck. But yeah, so that's why your girlfriend isn't really your girlfriend. She's just a conglomeration of the last like 10 or 15 guys she got fucked by. She doesn't even know who she is. She just takes on part of these small parts of these personalities from all these strong, influential men that she's got fucking dick pumped by. And you don't want any part of that. So the younger the woman you can find, the less sexual partners that she's had that you can find, the better, right? So it's well documented at this point in time. There doesn't need to be any debate on it anymore. What you want is a woman that has less age, less attitude, less sexual partners, more compliability, more agreeableness, more ability to adhere to your suggestions and orders and be on your program and have a good attitude and enthusiastically fuck you, not compare you to all the other dudes that she enthusiastically fucked before you. I made a list here of all the women that like I would notice when I was dating them that they would start to talk the way that I talked and act the way that I acted and have the like try to finish my sentences and show me how cool it was that they could think the way that I thought, and I was like, that's fucking disgusting. You're not me. You haven't earned it. You're some little Vietnamese chick or some little Cambodian chick or some little Italian chick or some little fucking English chick or whatever the fuck. Like, I mean, it's so disgusting to me for you to try to take on my personality and reflect it back to me. Bitch, just be yourself. I I don't I would have never approached you in the beginning if you were just going to try to act like me all the time. Oh, that's what kind of fucking weird shit is that? You think we like that shit? We don't like that shit. Shut the fuck up. Make a sandwich and be quiet. Be nice. Be hospitable. Be personable. Be helpful. Be happy about having a carefree life, about having a fucking bodyguard. The last fucking thing I want to hear at the end of my day is some woman who thinks like I do. Put that shit to bed. Not only because I don't find a woman that's like me to be attractive, it's also that now I don't trust you because you can't even withstand my presence for a short amount of time before you start acting like me. That makes me think that the version of you that I met when I found you to be attractive was just a conglomeration of all the dudes that you got fucked by before me, which is probably the reality. Number 7. Man, we probably don't even want to go there, but there's a long list of women that just got married to the next guy they were in a relationship after me. And I've done a lot of reflecting on that. And part of it is Well, it appears that part of it is I preach to these chicks like, get married, have children, don't be a fucking whore. You don't need to go to college. You don't need some career. You need to be a stay at home, wifey type. That's the most honorable thing for you to do. That's the most important thing in the fucking world for you to do. Find your that's your purpose. Fulfill your purpose. You were not put here by God to be a fucking wage slave and participate in this dog eat dog slavery, money chasing, fucking evil system. Let me do that. I'm the one that's built for that, not you. You could never do the things that I do. You don't have the physical or mental capabilities to be resilient enough to deal with the swings or the darkness that goes along with being successful in this environment. And if you did, I would find it to be fucking revolting, physically disgusting, and I would have to break up with you and leave you. So don't. Do us all a favor and be a chick, not a dude. And most of these women, they can't handle that. They're so programmed with this feminist software that they will, well, let's see. Yeah, no, I actually bailed on all these chicks. I'm trying to find one that bailed on me. The last one that I had bailed on me, but well, actually, there's two that bailed on me. But there's about five others that I could think of here all in a row that I bailed on. So it's like a 5-2 ratio. So yeah, it is what it is. It's not 100% me bailing on them. But yeah, they'll hear this spiel that I preach to them about how they shouldn't be trying to be a man, and then they'll go out and they'll find some weaker, lesser, more easy to walk all over man, and they'll marry that dude, like taking my advice and get married, and then they'll just like hit the gas pedal on the career and all that type of shit and find out how unsatisfying and lame it is and then divorce that guy and then call me. Now, now they got kids with this other dude, but they're calling me and they want to fuck and they want to like, oh, I fucked up. I'm sorry. This chick invited me to her wedding. This chick, I broke up with her. She went and found a dude that had the same job as me, looked kind of like me, worked at the same company that I worked at, and married him. It lasted, I don't know, 3 fucking days. Divorced that guy, and then went and called me back. The next one went and got married, had twins with the next dude, kept fucking hitting me up and telling me, like, oh yeah, I'm not going to let you see your daughter if you don't want to get back together with me. Talking about crazy shit. This other one went and got married, had twins with this dude. These bitches must be getting IVF because they're having twins. They're like late 20s, early 30s having fucking twins. I didn't never thought about that until now. But yeah, twins, twins. That one didn't have twins. She went and became a yoga teacher. Got fat. This one right here, she had baby daddy in jail. This one over here, baby daddy in jail. I mean, what can I say? I love bad bitches. That's my fucking problem. Totally not worth it. Anyway, all that to say, there's an interesting pattern that I've been observing here lately. I'll expound on that more going on into the future, but that closely ties in With point number 6, that women are going to take on personality traits from the men that they've been with. And so that was number 7. Chicks like to marry the next guy that they've been with after me. That's number 7. Number 8. I only got one line here for number 8. I'm in Alabama. I've been in Alabama for 3.5 months. Bro, skip Alabama, dude. Alabama is shot out. All right? Alabama is burnt out. Alabama is broke, bro. I have seen how many like really good looking chicks have I seen in Alabama? Not many, dude. Not fucking many. I can think of one married chick. She was super hot. I mean, married, has kids. I would never like hit on her or nothing like that. That would be fucking wild. That's not. I would never do something like that. But like, whoever her husband is, good for you, bro. Like you're like solid, bro. And then I've seen one other hot chick since I've been in Alabama. Actually, no, no, no. Two. One at the grocery store, one at the gym. So yeah, I saw one at Whole Foods in Birmingham, and I seen one at the what was that boxing gym called? Anyway, one of these boxing gyms where it's like not really boxing, it's like boxing aerobics for chicks. I mean, what are you gonna do? Shoot me down for going to the fucking boxing gym where it's boxing aerobics for chicks? I got experience in pro fighting of every fucking kind you could think of. Of course, when I get bored of just lifting weights at the hotel, I'm gonna go down the street to the boxing gym where they have boxing classes and shit, and it's full of fucking chicks, and see if there's any hot chicks there. And guess what? There was two. One of them worked there, married, has kids. Good for her. She's probably like 40 and hot. So like her husband is winning. The other one was probably like 28 and hot, and good for her too. You know what I'm saying? Good for her. But other than that, I've been in Alabama for months and months and months and months, and there are no hot chicks here. Alabama is burnt to the ground. Stay away from Alabama. If you're in the Alabama, Northwest Georgia, South Tennessee area, drive your ass to Nashville if you're going to try to find any good looking chicks to talk to. Get your ass in the car and get the fuck out of here and go to Nashville. All right, that's a wrap. 53 minutes. That was way too long, but it is what it is. Much love, everybody. All we do is win. Holler at me. Chuck, come on now. Click the likes. Comment if you think I sound crazy. If you want to talk shit, talk shit. And subscribe to the channel, man. Don't be a bitch.